I want to explain to y'all the difference between let-off percentages and what they mean. Is 80% better than 85 because there's a speed difference there? Let's dive into that and I'll kind of show you what let-off means. So, example, if you're shooting a Matthews bow, for example, let's just use that. You're going to have this piece here. This is called the module. And on this module, you'll have a weight, you'll have a letter that corresponds to draw length, and then you have a number like an 80 or an 85. This one here has 85. That means this is a 85% let-off module. Now, you're not holding 85% of the bow's draw weight. You're holding the other 15% because 85 plus 15 makes 100, right? So you're holding that 15% of the draw weight. So if this is 70 pounds, you're going to be holding 15% of that. So you're going to be holding, I don't know, 11-ish pounds. And that's what's going to accumulate that 85% let-off module. Now, let's say you're running an 80%. So now you're going to be holding 20% of that bow's draw weight. So holding a little bit more weight with the 80% because you're holding, you know, let's say 70 pounds, you're going to be holding roughly 15 pounds of draw weight, which is a little bit more. A lot of people like holding more weight because that subconsciously tells them, hey, I got to stay on target longer, and if I relax just a little bit, that bow's going to jump down and go, be ready to go. So they tend to have to hold more weight, they stay on target, and then they can execute a better shot. Now in a hunting situation, is it nice to hold less weight with 85%? It sure is, because you could be holding for minutes at a time, and holding 11 pounds for, you know, a minute is a little bit easier than holding 15, 16 pounds for a minute. Quick way to just calculate that, which I'll show you in there on the scale. You can use your phone if you have a handy Hamskea scale like the ones we use in the shop. We use this Last Chance Archery scale. This is the HS3, good handheld scale. If I turn it on, it will show the weight up top. That peak weight is what your bow draw weight is. Underneath it will show your holding weight, which can be calculated to show exactly what you're holding as far as your let-off percentage of your specific bow. So let's run to the range. I'll break it down, kind of show you exactly what a bow's holding, and then we'll do a speed test and kind of show you, you know, how much difference in speed is 80% versus 85. So let's go in there and check it out. All right, so how to determine how much let-off you're actually holding. We should be getting some more of these in stock. We'll link them below. That way you can purchase your own hand scale. But if you see on the scale, we have our peak weight, which is the top number in pounds, and then that bottom weight is going to be our holding weight. And that's going to tell us how much we're actually holding. All right, so example. We're 70 pounds on the dot. That bottom number is 11.5. So we can take those two numbers and put it in our calculator here. And this is how you would determine how much percentage of let-off you're holding. I'm going to go to my calculator. The number is 11.5 divided by 70. So I got 0.164. So that's right at 84% let-off is what I'm holding on this bow. Give or take, the scale could, we're going to chalk the 1% error from 84 to 85% to the scale. But that's just a quick way for you to, you know, with the scale, distinguish how many, you know, how much percentage you're holding as far as holding weight. So with 85% let-off, we're holding 11 pounds. That means I can get it full draw and I can relax. That back will feel a little bit more solid. Some guys get that feeling that bow wants to just jump on them. It's ready to go. Chances are you have a low percentage let-off. You're holding 70% versus 85. Big difference. Let's get a speed on this. 70 pounds, 28.5-inch draw with 85% let-off. We got a 443 grain arrow. And let's get a speed on it just to see if is there a difference between 85% and 80%. So we're at 70 pounds on the dot. Y'all saw that on the scale. This is 85% let-off, 28.5-inch draw. With that 85% let-off, that means I'm holding 11-ish pounds. I've always wanted to know, is 80% going to be noticeably faster? Let's just see what kind of speeds we're getting. 443, 28.5-inch draw, 70 pounds, 85%. Let's get some speeds. Okay, 290. So arrow number 2, let's just get an average here. 70 pounds, 85%. So 290.1, 290.3. Let's swap over to 70 pounds, 80%, which means we're going to be holding more weight at full draw. Let's see what that feels like and see if there's a speed jump. All right, 80%ers, let's just make sure we're pulling 70. 70.3, let me double check that. Ideally, we want it close to 70 as possible. There we go. 70.1, and that holding weight is 15.8 roughly. You can calculate that. See exactly what we're holding, which should equate to close to 80%. That was 15.8 divided by 70 pounds. That's 0.22, so that's 78%. Again, we could credit that 2% error to the scale. So right at 80% let off. Let's retest the speed. Still got the Garmin up. 443 is the arrow weight. 28.5, and we got 70 pounds, 80% let off. Let's see if it's any faster. Okay, so that jumped 3 feet a second, going down in let off, or increasing the holding weight. So let's just reshoot it, make sure we got an average. Again, specs, 443 arrow, 28.5, 70 pounds, 80% let off. First one's 293. $292.8. Going from 85% let off down to 80%, I'm seeing 2 to 3 feet a second increase in speed, but I'm holding 4.5 pounds more. So that's something that you guys should ask yourself, is it really worth me going down to 80% for? A lot of target archers, a lot of guys like 80%, not because of the speed factor alone. It is a good benefit, but they like holding on target to where if they relax any in their shot, that 80 is gonna wanna go. 85, you can dip into a back wall or into a valley and hold it a little bit longer. That 80% really helps you focus, stay on target longer. You're gonna be holding more weight, but you're gonna be more focused out front subconsciously to stay on that target. That way you can't relax and you gotta still execute a good shot. Is going from a comfortable 85% back wall down to 80% for 3 feet a second. Y'all decide that. You will have to hold more weight. Could make you a better archer by having to hold more weight and stay on target longer, but that's something you guys to decide, and then try it out. See if the speed and the holding more weight is a benefit enough for you guys. But if you have any questions, let us know. And that's the difference between 80%, 85% let off. And if you should change, just let us know.